Bhatt has been a quarry for analysts. Accused of megalomania, verbal diarrhea, exhibitionism, he's cannibalized his relationships, exposed his vulnerabilities, and seemingly reveled in the trail of confusion that he's left behind. The last time I interviewed him for television, his views on marital infidelity got me into trouble with the women's organizations. Am I being a masochist in inviting him again? I think not. Anyway, I'm not taking any chances. I've also invited his wife, actress Soni Razdan, tonight. Also, I feel Mahesh has changed over the years. Just how much? We're going to find out now.
Just let your thoughts, your dreams unfold. Let's talk of love, of tales untold. Speak so I can see your soul. Speak so I can see your soul.
Mahesh, you come across as such a restless spirit, restless soul. What is it that you're searching for?
Well, there's a friend of mine called U.G. Krishnamurti. He has put before me this goal that I should be a dollar billionaire at least. Now, if I have to make $1 billion, I can't do it by being very peaceful and placid. I don't think I'm restless enough.
The goal is to make $1 billion?
Yeah.
Is money the cause of your restlessness, or is it a spiritual search?
What else is there? If you worship that God called money, you will be amply rewarded. And if you worship the other God, or you call it spirituality or the alternate reality, you will be stripped and left naked on the streets. Only those people who sell God make millions by selling God.
That's true. You went to Godmen.
Rajneesh, when I dumped his mala down a commode, flushed it down, and the news reached him, this man who spoke of unconditional love said, he is going to get me. He's going to see that I disappear from the face of the earth.
Jesus.
This man who spoke of unconditional love behaved like a jilted lover. So I said, what is this guy talking about? From the platform, you harangue, and you talk endlessly about unconditional love. And what happens when one insignificant individual just walks out of you? You can't take it.
Can't take it.
You can't take one renegade in your heaven. I would say it's much cleaner to make a living by being a pimp on the street than to pretend that you're in possession of that pethidine for which man has been seeking. Because mankind is in anguish. I asked him finally when I met him again, I said, sir, I'm in business because people are lonely. You're in business because people are miserable. Do you have anything apart from words to offer? Nothing.
But in any case, personally, I just believe that all the happiness one can ever hope to find lies within one. Nobody else can show it to you. Nobody else can
Let me assure you, Simi, I've looked for that happiness inside, and I find nothing but darkness inside.
Why, Mahesh?
I see confusion, chaos, and an attempt to cope. At the age of 48, I'm still struggling to cope with.
Do you feel burdened?
Less burdened because I've discarded the goals that culture had pushed over me.
Mahesh, you also said that, and I quote, the family is the most exploitative unit of society devised to control the free human spirit. Exploitative? Is it not supportive?
It's a cultural goal, that, you have to be the great son or the great daughter or the great brother, and you'd really go through great anguish to live up to that role. And the role playing is what culture uses because it suits those individuals who are living off you. Like if I do not become a means of fulfillment for my brother who wants to live off me, he says I'm a bad brother. Or if I do not no longer becomes, I'm no longer a meal ticket for my family, they say, oh, he is not after all a good family member. So how they use you for their own good.
I'm surprised to hear you say this.
Why?
You feel that you just have to provide a means of livelihood to them
So
because...
What else do I have to provide in any case? What else? What else do I know what my family needs from me?
You think it all
Security.
boils down to
That's all.
finances and money?
Yeah, basically, without money, Nothing.
So if you had no money today, tomorrow, they wouldn't bother
I
about
wouldn't
you?
be sitting down here and haranguing on this show.
You mean they wouldn't bother about you?
I don't think so.
Then who can one rely on?
Nobody.
You don't rely on anybody?
Nobody. On your own 2 feet, however shaky they are, don't believe that nonsense. All those people who say they'll stand by you through thick and thin will abandon you first.
So is there any real relationship in life at all?
All relationships are based on mutual gratification. What do I get out of this relationship? Fulfillment, some fulfillment on some level, even the fulfillment of giving.
But it complements each other.
When a mother gives, she gets fulfilled. The need to give is also a need. It's all
So
based.
need directs relationship.
Everything is. I've never given anything in my life to anybody without getting something in return.
When the needs complement each other,
That's
what
it.
you need.
What happens then? What happens when your goals change? It's the goals that tie you together. What happens? Haven't you known how relationships die?
They do.
How people turn against each other? Haven't you known when the head of the family dies, how people fight like cats and dogs for money? Even before the corpse has been reduced to ashes, real estate is the issue. Lawyers come in.
Yeah, I know.
The
what you
fight
mean.
goes on and all. And what happens in a great family tradition of yours? Nothing happens. When I drop dead, I know my family will say, "Oh, my dear Papa, or my dear husband, we miss him." But they would be happy that I left them a gold mine.
I think you are being cynical.
I'm not being cynical.
What about your relationship with your daughter?
Well, it's my need to give, to see my own flesh of my flesh, blood of my blood excel. She's an extension of me. I'm doing for myself.
You know, Mahesh, you have been so open about your life, your childhood, your relationships, everything with the world. Is there any topic that you feel is too private to talk about?
What is so private about people's lives? Human beings are pathetically similar. And all intimacy is getting close to that moment of, that thing that you're hiding. And
Yes, absolutely.
yes, when I was a kid, I remember my mother was very, very beautiful. And we lived alone in Shivaji Park, and our father would not live with us. He used to live with his other mother. And in the middle of the night, some drunk would pass, and a group of boys, men would pass and abuse her. And my mother would be so embarrassed. And I was to wonder that we are the good, nice people. She would be praying inside. And those are the people out there who are abusing. Why is she feeling like a thief, and why is she feeling so shameful?
Cringing.
The middle class is so embarrassed of being abused, of mocked at,
Yes.
and they can manipulate them. And what happens if you do not get manipulated by shame? People control you by what you hide.
Oh, absolutely.
I will tell the world what you did. What happens if I tell the world before you tell the world what I did?
You
then
can
can't
see a
control
man's.
me.
You can see what scares a man by the means he uses to threaten you.
Yeah, and then I keep on telling my friends, I say, you are what you hide. What I'm hiding
that
at
is
this,
what you really are.
What I'm hiding right
Yeah.
now is what Mahesh Bhatt really is.
Well, I'm waiting for Soni to come. So should we
Let's
have
get
some
her.
coffee till she comes?
Let's get her. Yeah.
Soni, you've been an actress whose performances have been praised by critics. And you're one of the few people who's studied drama. You were at the Guildhall
School of Music and Drama in London.
So you decided to come into this career in a serious way. I mean,
Very seriously. Since I was 12, actually. I made a terrible mistake and decided to be an actress, and it stuck with me ever since. Yeah.
Tell me, has marrying Mahesh helped you in your career?
No.
Why not?
Because I did not feel that I was here to live up to her expectation of being a stepping stone to her career.
But you don't mind helping Pooja, your daughter?
Yes, because she is a girl whom I picked up, and I created a niche for her in the first 3 films, and then I left her on her own.
You could have done
After
the same
that-
for Soni.
after that-
He
To a
didn't want
slot.
an actress at home, he wanted a wife.
I never restricted her from going out and working.
Tell me, once you got married, did you find the industry attitude towards you changing?
Yeah.
Like how?
Well, I mean, let's face it, I wasn't hyper successful before I got married. So,
No, but you still
it was-
got some good
But
roles.
I could have got somewhere, I'm sure, if they bothered to cast me. It's just a cut-off, it's a mental block. She's married, that's it.
So in a way, you had
Not
to
at all.
choose.
Well, I was desperately in love, you know. And
She
that my
was
heart
desperately in love, and now she's
rules
out
my
of-
Past tense, is it?
Now she's out of love, and
No, no,
she
I
is
mean, I'm talking
back
about
with
those days.
vengeance, doing her plays, and she's
I'm
here
talking
to
about
now
those days.
fulfill
It was,
that.
the most important thing in my life was to marry Mahesh, and I did it.
Would you be jealous of her if she was very, very successful?
No, I wouldn't be jealous of her. In fact,
Would you resent it in any way? Would it take away from your relationship with her?
I feel that there's a part that I don't share when she does something very intensely, like she does this play, of which I'm not a part of. I feel left out, and I think it's being left out of a major area of her life.
So it's
I mean, it's hours and hours and hours of life, which is not, which doesn't revolve,
Shared.
which doesn't have me. I'm an extra in that life of hers, and I'm used to being the hero in her life. To be honest, I feel a little lost when that happens.
At least he's being honest.
Very
Give him full
honest,
marks for
yeah.
honesty. What did Soni give you that you chose her as your life mate?
Well, I think she coped with my most difficult phase when my drinking had become almost a disease. And to be able to cope with that phase of mine when I turned everything I touched into a wasteland must have been quite traumatic.
You helped him in that because
She did, in fact, when I gave up drinking, she asked me to start drinking because my personality is undergoing a major change.
she couldn't
But
cope
suddenly
with
a
that.
different man. I didn't know this.
Oh God, who are you?
Who are you? I mean, you know, this jovial, happy-go-lucky
So
guy became a really
I gave up
serious
drinking, gave up
work.
smoking.
Has that changed him? I
He's
mean, he's
changed-
become
he changed
serious.
completely. I didn't recognize him.
Which one
He
do you
wasn't
prefer?
the man.
Which
I
Mahesh
married.
do you prefer?
Oh, definitely this one.
This one.
I miss that one sometimes because he was very, 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 very.
Lots of fun.
Yeah.
As I keep on saying, I can hardly live with myself. It's a miracle that she lives with me. And
Anyone can
I
live
think she's being very graceful. She has put up a lot with me. She has lived with this aberration of my other family without making a big issue out of it. And I think we are living with our warts.
When you married him, you knew that he hadn't had another family. Did it create any feeling of insecurity in you, Soni?
For a while, maybe, but that went over the years.
How did
because-
you help her to overcome that feeling of insecurity? Which you
I
didn't
didn't do
feel?
nothing to her to. I did nothing to make her overcome anything. I just perhaps gave her the
No,
signals that
it's
things
just
were
time,
fine.
I think. It's just time which goes by and you realize that nobody's really a threat to anybody else and nobody wants to be a threat to anybody else and everybody just wants to live the best way they can and I think that's the only way to live.
Soni, how do you handle the stepmother syndrome? How does that come
You
in
know,
you?
Simi's been too easy for me. It's not fair for me to call myself a stepmother. I haven't had the responsibility of his children ever. They've got a wonderful mother.
Yeah, I
They've
believe
never
so.
needed me, yeah.
How do they feel about you?
You'll have to ask them.
I will at the right time. Mahesh, you tell me.
I think to a point comfortable. Beyond that, the awareness.
Was there
blocks.
resentment earlier on?
Yes, there was. She was this evil seductress who took their papa away.
How did you handle that?
I didn't. I let them express their rage, their anger.
But the thing is, they never expressed it to me.
Which is right, yeah.
You know, they were very, very, I mean, at that time Pooja was grown up, Sunny was still a little boy.
But I never hid from Pooja. When I
Pooja
know
was
she
extremely
she was
mature about
10 years
her.
old when I
Very
went and
sweet.
told her that this is what's going on between your father and this girl.
What did she say?
She looked at me and she shook her head. I don't know what it meant.
It must have been tough, though.
Not really.
Do you meet Maheshji's former wife? Do you meet Kiran?
Not so much now. We used to meet quite a lot earlier.
How do
Yeah.
you get on?
Very well. Very well. We've had our fights. But
What
you
would
know,
you fight about?
No, I mean, initially when we weren't married, there were problems, you know. But after that, once I got married to him, we've been very, very, I would say very, very good to each other.
She went through her moments of rage, insecurity, and I think we all have adjusted to this redefined reality.
You didn't require that much adjusting, Mahesh.
I did. You can't break away. You forget that I met her when I was 15 years old. I got married to Soni when just about 10 years ago.
But I think the
29.
adjustment has been done by the women.
Yeah, but you can't just amputate 25 years of your life. She was a part of my life. I grew up with her. She was part of my teenage.
You still meet her.
Yes, but not so often because I'm very busy with my life. But I don't feel it necessary to prove again and again to her that I care by meeting her every now and then.
Do you believe in the institution as such of marriage?
I violated
Rigid terms,
the
and it's not-
code of marriage in my first wife. My marriage vows, my children did not prevent me from getting involved with her. How can I look away from that hard, blunt truth? Come on, I'm not an upholder of the tradition of marriage. Who gives me the mandate to come and sit down and talk about marriage? I have violated every possible law in the book. I'm not a symbol of that. I don't think she is a symbol of that. We both are aberrations. We are the violators. We are outsiders. Are we insiders of that?
Mahesh, how does she make you feel?
Anchored.
Fair enough.
In one of the fights we were having, she said, to be the most revealing thing about my personality, she says, come on, let's face the fact, Mr. Bhatt, you're not the calmest of rivers to sit by. And I think she said it all. I think I would like to be very honest. I would like to thank her for whatever she has given to me. And I feel very moved that she has been able to cope with my insanity.
I think he's exaggerating. It's not that
Thinking
bad.
that he's getting emotional, which is nice because men so rarely express these things, you know. And they take the Sahara of a third person, you know. It's something he
Yeah,
probably won't
that's
tell
true.
you alone.
Yeah,
But
very
because
true.
I'm here, he can sort of get away with it. What is the one thing you fear most in life, Mahesh?
Death
Death, no? The permanence of...
coming to an end. And of course the thought that this is going to burn one day or rot and turn into just dust is too discomforting. And I think continuity, permanence is what man has always sought, and that's why you want God. Can you believe in God without believing in immortality? I want to ask you, no. You want to believe in God because you want immortality.
It's true. I agree.
So without immortality, who the hell wants a God? I don't give a damn for that God. I want immortality, I want permanence. I want eternal health, I want eternal youth, I want eternal happiness, I want things, pleasurable things to go on and on and on, and I want this moment to last. And can there be some way I can make it last? And I know it's not possible, so I latch on to that creation of my mind called God, which is born out of the womb of terror. In the womb of terror we give birth to our gods and we hold on to them, and not possible, sorry.
Also, I find, you know, the ones who don't believe in God are the loneliest. Because then you have no one.
Nothing to turn to.
So on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to ask you to rate yourselves. How do you rate your ego?
10 to 10.
10 on 10. Your ego is so phenomenal. What about your intelligence?
4 to 10.
Yours?
7.
Like that. What about your EQ, your emotional quotient? How do you rate that?
11 and 10.
Oh, stop it.
Overflowing.
What about you?
9.
You guys are on the high side.
Great opinion of ourselves.
Okay, what about your self-confidence?
Continuously shadowed by doubt.
What about the numbers?
5 to 10.
5.
5 on 10? What rubbish. Rubbish.
I conceal my doubt.
Good Lord, I wouldn't have thought so.
What about your self-confidence?
8.
How would you rate his humor?
Yeah, 8. He's got a good sense of humor, contrary to what he thinks.
You? Your humor.
6.
What about hers?
2.
See what I mean? Yeah, that's wrong.
It's not fair.
That's true.
Okay. How would you rate the way you have conducted your life?
In marks?
Yes.
3.
Oh.
Why?
Could have made it better.
Sorry? You could have made it better.
I think he's lying.
No, actually, I wouldn't have done anything else.
What about you?
6.
Could have done
Made
it
a mess of a lot of things. Yeah,
Like
really.
what?
Like marrying me.
No. Just generally. I mean, very, very immature.
How do you rate yourself as a husband?
5.
mediocre.
Medium rare.
What about you? How do you rate him as a husband, truly?
Some ways he's 10 on 10, other ways he's 4.
Which ways
Yeah.
is he for? That's what I want to know.
1.5.
As a father, how do you rate yourself, Mahesh?
9. I'm a good father.
A lot of people feel that they're good fathers compared to being husbands. I think it's that blood thing that matters in the end.
They can be more relaxed while they're being fathers, perhaps.
There's so many factors that come into play in a relationship,
Yes,
which
there's-
don't come into play in a
Exactly,
father-daughter or a child relationship. As a filmmaker, how do you rate yourself?
6 out of 10.
What do you think of him as a filmmaker? How do you rate him?
In his good films, 9.
And in the lousy one,
No, we want to talk about
we won't even talk about it.
2, 1.
How do you rate your luck factor?
4, 5. I'm not lucky.
Not lucky.
No, I worked very hard for everything.
It's a slog.
Still doing.
Really?
Nothing came easy for me. I had to come.
Mine is
Even
also
though-
terrible.
What about for jealousy?
10 out of 10.
Stop it, Mahesh. Seriously.
I'm extremely jealous.
You're a very jealous person. You're still jealous. You were jealous
Extremely.
10, 12 years ago when I last talked to you.
That's why I told Rajneesh when I was angry with him. I said, when I came here, I was wanting to be free of jealousy. And I'm still jealous. I can fool the whole world and talk against jealousy. But the fact is that I burn. I feel like an animal. Every pore of my being vibrates with jealousy.
I must be suffering.
Oh, suffering. I can't.
What about you? I mean, how would you rate your jealousy? Well, I think
As I grow older, I get less jealous. I think that's
Yeah,
a
more.
relief. Yeah.
You know, as you get more lukewarm.
Yes.
I mean, with me, it's becoming the converse. So getting more and more intensified. Yeah.
it's been wonderful. It's always fascinating to talk to you both. Thank you so much for coming, and I hope we meet again soon. Thanks a lot.